Did you ever have the experience of giving someone a gift or perhaps helping them with a special project, and they were so incredibly grateful that it filled your heart with such joy and happiness? I had an experience like that, and I want to share it with you today. In November of 2015, I was leaving Petco in a shopping center in Santa Barbara, and it was dusk. And as I was walking toward my car with my packages, I noticed a fellow walking toward my car. And I said, gosh, he looks like he's walking directly to me. Well, by the time I got to my car, he also reached my car. And he looked like he was very rotund, but then I realized that he was wearing every piece of clothing that he owned on his body. He had this long, shaggy beard, gray, and this wild Einstein-like hair. And beneath these very bushy gray eyebrows, I saw these twinkling little beady lights. And he looked at me and he said, "Ma'am, can you spare $1?" And I hesitated for a moment. I had one foot on the door, in the door jamb, and I stopped for a moment and then I said, "You know what? If there's $1 in my wallet, it's yours." And he got all excited and he rubbed his hands together and he was really, really anticipating this dollar. So I looked in my wallet and I did not have $1. I had a $10 bill. And then I heard a voice in my head say, "Give him the 10. And so I looked up at him and I said, "I'm so sorry, I don't have a 1. And his shoulders slumped and his face fell. And then I said, "But I do have a 10, would that do?" Well, he was so excited. He clapped his hands, he did this little jig in the parking lot, and he goes, "Oh, thank you." He said, "That's dinner and breakfast." Well, I was really moved. So I gave him the 10, and I said, "You know, I looked in my wallet and I didn't see a 1. I just saw the 10. But then I heard a voice in my head say, 'Give him the 10. And then he got so excited, he goes, "Do you think it was the Lord?" And I said, "Yeah, I think it might have been the Lord." And he goes, "Oh, you love the Lord too?" "I love the Lord. Do you know that I was actually a minister at one time and a prophet?" And then he got really quiet, and then he backed up a few steps, and he took his bony finger and he pointed right at me, and he said, "There's a man coming into your life, and he's a man of God." And I laughed and I said, "I wouldn't have it any other way." And we high-fived in the air, and he turned around and he shuffled off, cherishing his $10 bill. And I got in my car, and I felt like my heart was going to pop out of my chest. Tears poured down my cheeks, and I felt so much joy that I had brought happiness to this man with $10. And then I recalled a line from one of my favorite bodies of work that I've studied called The Course in Miracles. I don't know if any of you have heard of The Course in Miracles, but here's the line: "The having is in the giving." And I went, yeah, that's the meaning of that phrase now. So there's a sequel to this story. About 2 weeks later, this was right before Christmas now, I met Petco again, interestingly enough, and I'm in the line, ready to cash out, and I noticed out the front door of Petco, through the glass windows, a woman who had a huge shopping cart, and it was piled with all of her belongings, what looked like all of her belongings. And I just noticed her, and then I noticed that she was coming into the store. And as I reached the cashier, and he added up my items, he said, "That will be $19.95, ma'am." So I looked into my purse, and I reached for my wallet, and my wallet was not in my purse. And I looked up at the cashier and I said, "I don't have my wallet with me. I'm sorry, I can't pay you." just then, out of the corner of my eye, this woman walks over to me and she hands me a $20 bill. And she said, "Here, please take this." And I said, "Ma'am, I can't take this $20 from you." She said, "I want you to take it. Please take it." And then she looked me directly in the eyes and she said, "You know what? It would mean so much to me if you would take this $20. So I thought of how I felt when I helped that man a few weeks before, how joyful I felt. And I thought, why would I deny her that joy? So I took the $20 and I paid my bill. She left. And as soon as I paid my bill and I left the store, I looked for her. And you know what? She had vanished. She was nowhere in sight. And she had this big, huge shopping cart. How could she have disappeared? So I got in my car and I drove up around the streets to see perhaps if somehow she was there, and she was not. And I thought, I bet she was an angel. And this was an opportunity for me to return the favor, so to speak. So, I want all of you in the audience right now to think of someone that you can help. Think of someone that really needs your help or needs something that you can buy for them that would make them so happy. So I want you to think of that person, and then I want you to close your eyes for just a few seconds. And I want you to imagine that you're helping that person. And I want you to see their response. And I want you to see them filled with joy and happiness. And now I ask you, how do you feel? And I would say you probably feel joy and happiness as well. Is this true? Yes. You know why? Because the having is in the giving.